The earth hit my mouth before I could scream. Cold. Dry. Bitter. Hands were shoveling sand over my head as I kicked, coughed, and tried to breathe. Someone pressed my shoulder down with their foot. Finish it, a voice shouted. Before she attracts bad spirits. I was being buried alive. My name is Nkiru, and my only crime was saying no. Please. I screamed. I'll obey. I swear I'll obey. But the drumbeats were louder than my voice. Boom. 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 The village square was packed. I could hear people, my people, chanting. She disobeyed. She challenged tradition. Let the earth swallow her pride. Sand filled my ears. My hair. My eyes. I thought of my mother, dead for 3 years now, and wondered if this was how she felt when they lowered her coffin. Then I heard my uncle's voice. Cover her properly, he said coldly. Let her learn. That broke me. This was the same man who raised me. The same man who used to call me his little firefly. Now he was supervising my burial like it was a festival. Just hours earlier, I was still alive in their eyes. It all started that morning. The elders summoned me without warning. No greeting. No seat. The village head cleared his throat. Nkiru, he said, you have been chosen. Chosen. That word always comes before suffering. You will marry Okiri, the chief priest's brother. My stomach dropped. Okiri was twice my age. Violent. Feared. Widowed twice. I can't, I said quietly. The elders murmured. The village head leaned forward. You mean you won't? I won't, I repeated, my voice shaking. I won't marry a man I fear. Silence. My uncle stood up so fast his stool fell backward. Are you mad? He shouted.
You mad?
Do you know
This
what
is
this
madness.
means?
You cannot do
I
this.
know what it means to die
Answer me,
slowly,
why?
I replied. I won't. That was when the first slap landed. Not from Okiri. From my uncle. The elders didn't stop him. They watched. That was the moment my fate changed. Take her, the village head said calmly. Let the earth remind her where she came from. I tried to run. They caught me before I reached the path. Now I was in a shallow pit behind the shrine, my body trapped, sand rising. My lungs burned. Then suddenly. Stop. The drumbeats halted. The foot on my shoulder lifted. Someone shouted, who is that? I heard footsteps. Heavy. Confident. A voice I didn't recognize said calmly, if you cover her, this village will not see another sunrise in peace. The elders gasped. My uncle shouted, who are you to interrupt sacred punishment? The man stepped closer. Dig her out. No shouting. No pleading. Authority. Hands pulled sand away from my face. I coughed violently, sucking in air like a newborn. I collapsed, shaking. The stranger knelt beside me. Can you breathe? He asked softly. I nodded, crying. The village head pointed angrily. You have no right here. The man stood slowly and removed his cap. My name is Ifini, he said. And you buried the wrong woman. The crowd laughed nervously. Another fool, someone whispered. My uncle scoffed. And what will you do? Curse us? Ifini smiled. No, he said. I will expose you. That made the elders uneasy. You disobeyed tradition, the village head said, turning to me. You deserve punishment. Ifini looked at him sharply. She refused a forced marriage. That is not rebellion. Okiri stepped forward angrily. She embarrassed me. Ifini turned to him. You terrorize women. Gasps. You lie. Okiri shouted. Ifini reached into his bag and pulled out papers. Hospital records. Police reports. Names of your wives. The crowd shifted. The village head stammered. Where did you get those? Ifini's voice dropped. I've been watching. My uncle's face went pale. You think because you wear shoes and speak big grammar, Ifini interrupted him. You authorized an illegal execution. The word execution echoed. This is tradition, my uncle yelled. No, Ifini said. This is murder dressed as culture. I held my chest, still trembling. Why are you doing this? I whispered to him. He looked at me. Because I buried my sister in a village like this, he said quietly. And I promised myself never again. The elders began arguing among themselves. She must still be punished. We've gone too far. What if he reports us? Ifini raised his hand. You have two choices, he said. Release her publicly and apologize, or explain yourselves to the authorities waiting outside this village. Silence. Authorities, someone whispered. Engines roared in the distance. Cars. Not motorcycles. Cars. The ground vibrated. Faces changed. My uncle staggered backward. You brought outsiders? Ifini nodded. And cameras. My heart pounded. The village head whispered, we're finished. Ifini looked down at me. Stand up, Nkiru, he said gently. This isn't where your story ends. I stood weak, dirty, alive. But the village that buried me was about to be buried by the truth. The cars didn't stop at the village gate. They drove straight in. Dust rose into the air as 3 black SUVs rolled past shocked villagers and parked beside the shrine, the same shrine where they almost ended my life. Men stepped out. Not ordinary men. Uniformed officers. Journalists with cameras. A woman in a neat suit holding files tightly to her chest. The village collapsed into chaos. What is happening? Who brought police here? We are finished. My uncle grabbed my arm hard. Nkiru, he hissed, panic cracking his voice, tell them it was a mistake. I pulled my arm away. You didn't make a mistake, I said quietly. You made a choice. The woman in the suit stepped forward. I am from the Human Rights Commission, she announced. We received a report of attempted murder. Every eye turned to me. My knees almost buckled. Attempted murder. That was what they tried to call tradition. The village head fell to his knees. Please, he begged. This is our custom. The officer replied coldly. Custom does not include burying a woman alive. Okari tried to slip away. Ifini noticed instantly. Stop him. 2 officers grabbed Okari before he reached the trees. He screamed. She belongs to us. She is a woman. The officer tightened his grip. She is a citizen. The cameras were rolling now. Villagers hid their faces. My uncle collapsed into the sand, wailing. I was protecting the village. Ifini looked at him with quiet anger. You protected power. Not people. The officer turned to me. Nkiru, she said gently, can you tell us what happened? My throat tightened. The whole village stared at me, the same eyes that watched me disappear into the earth. I took a deep breath. They summoned me, I began. They chose a husband for me. I said no. Murmurs spread. I was slapped. Dragged. Buried. My voice cracked. They would have killed me. Silence followed. Then the officer nodded slowly. That is enough. She turned to her team. Arrest the village head. Arrest the uncle. Arrest Okari. Shouting erupted. No. You can't take them. This village will curse you. The officer didn't flinch. Put them in the vehicles. As they were dragged away, my uncle reached for me again. Nkiru, he cried. I raised you. I looked down at him. You raised me to fear you, I said. Not to love you. They took him away screaming. When the dust settled, the village felt empty. Broken. The officer turned to Ifini. You saved her life, she said. He shook his head. She saved herself. I just arrived in time. She nodded respectfully. What will you do now? She asked me. I didn't answer immediately. I looked around. At the pit. At the shrine. At the faces of women who stood silently, women who had never been allowed to speak. I will live, I said finally. And I will speak. Weeks later, the story spread. Radio. Television. Everywhere. They buried her alive, but she survived. The village was placed under investigation. Forced marriages were banned. And for the first time, girls walked the paths with their heads high. Ifini visited me before he left. You were brave, he said. I shook my head. I was scared. He smiled. Bravery is fear that refused to die. As he walked away, I touched the scar on my arm where the sand burned my skin. They tried to bury me. But seeds grow underground. And I rose. If this story moved you, please like this video thumbs up sign. It helps more people hear stories that matter. Subscribe to the channel for powerful African stories of courage, justice, and survival. And comment below, do you think tradition should ever be used to silence women? Your voice matters.